Ooh, very nice.
Yeah. And so this is fabulous the way they're letting me. T-Mobile's down or else I couldn't even do this today.
Mm-hmm.
Hi there. Hey, Facebook. Look who we have here today with us at Comic Spot. Yeah. You guys are so fortunate because I've done comedy in Portland, Oregon, which is where I met Colin Braun. I have two favorite comics in Portland. There's over 400 comics in Portland. Him and one other are my two favorites. You're going to find out why here in a little bit. Colin, let me read you what he wrote because my memory's for nonsense. Colin's an engineer. Yeah. And he's originally from Boston. So he knows how to use a whole table to put his drink on. He doesn't just use one little tiny. Engineers got this down. He's like, oh no, not this again. He started doing comedy in 2018 in Portland. Like I said, I met him there. He's so hysterically funny. He's won contests. He's got a company which is called Cast Iron Productions. I could have used something cast iron when I was married, but it came too late for me. Whatever. He's ready to roll his eyes at me, you guys. Help me. Stay tuned. It's going to get better. I promise you. He has a husband named Kyle. They live, and a dog named Barley, the cutest dog ever. They live in Berkeley. Berkeley? Barley, Berkeley. I don't want to get it twisted. He has a virtual open mic. I have never done anything virtually open. No, I have. I've done some open mics virtually. Anyway, back to him. His virtual weekly open mic is called Sick Leave. And you can follow him on Instagram at cbraun93. Let's give it up for the amazing, funny, talented, full of funny faces, Colin Braun. Welcome.
Well, thank you. It's so... What an intro. What a heavily annotated intro. Thank you for having me here in my own living room. I really appreciate the effort. I host an online show twice a week, and boy, howdy, is it challenging to do exactly what you're doing. You have to set up a camera and sit in a chair, and that's it, really. But
people ask me, can I do an interview with you on Saturday at 3? And I say, just a minute. I need to reach my right arm out 2 feet and grab the 8.5 by 11 piece of paper. It's going to be tough, but I'll get right back to you. Things are crazy. Everything's brought down to the lowest common denominator with this.
It is. It's amazing. Everyone's stuck. I don't have material about it because I don't. It's just been too long. It's not new anymore. And so I don't have anything interesting to say about it that's not already been said by people considerably more attractive and better at dealing with marketing. So,
yes.
So I'll just carry on waiting.
How are things since you moved from Portland to Berkeley with Barley?
They're good. Barley's good. We're in a big old building that's 100 years old, but we're the only ones with access to the backyard. So there's 11 other units that don't have access to the yard. So Barley gets to run by all of the other apartments, and all the dogs in those apartments look out at him and look at their owners in disgust and shame. Why are you what I got stuck with? Barley's having fun here. We throw the ball out the window, and then he runs out the back door to get the ball, and then he comes back in. So we don't even have to get up to take our dog out anymore.
That's super. The building is 100 years old. The window looks brand new. I can see through it, and you have plants in the way.
That's true. I'm sitting in what used to be outside, and so it wasn't a porch. So the house ended there. And there's actually exterior windows right there from the kitchen and the bathroom looking into this room because this used to be outside, but now it's a fully enclosed, finished, we call it the solarium. And we have plants. Because what I didn't have in Portland, but what I have here in Berkeley is sunlight. And so we've really been taking advantage of it.
What kind of things do you do during the course of the day when you're not an engineer or a comic?
So let's see, I'm an engineer a lot and then a comic a lot. So when I'm not doing either of those things, I'm usually asleep or incredibly drunk to such a point that I might as well be asleep. Right now, because it's Monday, because the show I host is on Tuesday nights, right now I would be getting set up for that. But normally on a Monday, I'll come home and I'll just sit in this room with my plants with a drink and just talk at nothing. So this really...
Do you talk to your plants to make them grow?
What's that?
Does it help to talk to your plants in Berkeley to make them grow?
I don't know. This is the control group from that study.
So how come don't you?
It does help if you water them, though. That helps a lot.
Can you teach the dog to do that?
I don't think so. He doesn't have the power of opposable thumbs. That's one thing we can't train him.
Hey, we had some great news today in the LGBTQ community.
I heard about that. Beyonce is coming out with an album. That's so exciting for her. For us as a people.
What?
For us as a people, it's a big accomplishment every time she comes out with one. Nothing history compares to the amazing feeling of joy of listening to single ladies while getting ready to go to a gay bar. I mean, it is just like, after all these years, we've made it. We're here. After all the garbage we've put up with, we're here. We're queer. And if you're not a fan of it, wait around for a couple of days. Who knows what I'll be like on Friday? I might be upside down. Or, I don't know.
I love, my favorite joke of all your bits and jokes is the one about the French bread.
Yes. Because a long loaf of bread does sound like a horrifying homophobic slur. And people do sometimes yell about the bread that they're selling. And so
you just got married not long ago. How's your marriage?
My marriage is good. We're the only ones that we've ever interacted with for the entire time we've been in quarantine, except for the last month because I've been working and he's been working. So it's been very weird to go from the sort of Cold War cohabitation, holding yourself to a standard, but also like back at each other like this. And now we're just like America and France in their diplomatic relations.
Oh my God.
It's like, oh yeah, you exist. How are you? How's everything going?
So do you plan on adopting children?
No, I'm actually trying to get rid of some children. So I'd rather not just set them free on the street, but if that's what I got to do, they followed me home from Costco.
Take them to a fire station. That's what us women do.
I would, but they're 16.
Darn homing pigeons.
I didn't get that one, but that's okay. We can go through it later.
They'll find their way back.
Right. Oh, I see.
All my jokes are like for an older crowd. That's why I'm in Vegas.
Yeah, there's a lot of old people in Vegas.
Yeah. And
they shouldn't be, because that's who COVID goes after.
Exactly.
And Vegas is a world of respiratory droplets.
Yes.
But it is a dry heat, they say, so maybe it's not a problem.
Yeah. Yeah. We, like the whole COVID thing has changed its face so many times. You have to be an engineer to stay up with it.
I'm not a biological engineer, so I'm having just as much trouble as you are.
it makes me laugh, all the ways that they've changed it and the things they've, like I can't cope without being silly about it. It's not, I believe it exists and it's affected millions of people. I get that. That's not funny. What's funny is every time they got something new, wear the mask, which helps 17%. So how many masks do you have to wear to get to 100? That, I'm not good at math.
5.5.
It's taken me 2 months.
Or 6. It might just be 6. I don't know my multiples of 17. 17, 34, so 68, 102. It'd be 7.
Okay. You need to sell a package of masks at Walgreens for $39.99. I'm only half Jewish, and I know that's not a good deal.
Right. Well, I've seen this thing. It's this thing that people are doing where you take a white pillowcase, and you kind of cut it a little bit so that you have this nice white pointed kind of sleek aerodynamic headdress, and you put 2 little holes in it for your eyes. I get masks issued from work, so I haven't used it. It's not really my style, but it's something I've seen a lot of. Because I drive by a police station every day.
Exactly. What do you think of our world with the COVID and the police brutality with Black people? Crazy, right?
Yeah, it's pretty. It's surprising. Like, you'd think cops would get bored and would just pick another minority group.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know. There's Italians and the Irish. I don't know. Let's bring back some of the old world prejudices. I want to see a war between Protestants and Catholics happening again.
I would pay money to see that.
Yeah.
What happened to the good old bullfights and stuff they used to do in the Coliseum?
Yeah.
I don't know where I'm going with that.
Yeah, I don't know where you're going with that either. But police brutality is bad, I think, is the moral of the story.
Oh my gosh. So I said that you're one of my favorite comics, meaning there's one other that's equally as famous as you in Portland that is my favorite. You two are tied. Guess who the other one is?
Caitlin Warehouser.
She's really good.
Oh, she's in LA.
Okay. It's not her, it's a guy.
Is it Ryan Ahern?
Yes. It's Ryan and you. You're my tops. My fave too.
Well, I think you might just have a thing for mean brown-haired men who are short and from the Northeast.
And super sarcastic. Mm-hmm. Yep.
You don't seem to mind people being incredibly mean to you, and I think that draws in people like us. It's so easy to be funny when you're mean. Except for when you're trying to think of an example, like right now.
You two are your comedy is so cutting edge, especially for Portland. Comedy.
I do have a lot of jokes about knives and saws as well, because of all the building.
So, how long have you had your dog? A long time.
We have had our dog for a year and I think 2 months.
Yeah, it's a long time.
So we just passed the first year with him. And he's the best dog we could ask for. He sits and he pees outside. So between those two things, that's about 98% of what you want out of a dog.
Totally.
And the other 2 is mostly pooping outside. And then, and he looks good in pictures too. So, those things.
He doesn't make family photos awkward.
He draws attention away from my facial asymmetry. So that's all that I need from him in a picture.
Oh my gosh. How many hours a week do you spend writing new material? Every time I saw you, you had a whole new set.
That's true. I've not been writing much of anything since quarantine started. And I've only ever done shows that are the one that I host, except for one time I did a set on someone else's show. So really, as far as comedy's going, I mean, I've just kind of been doing that to make it seem like I'm putting in effort. But we moved and have just been switching careers and states, and so I haven't really had time to be a comedian.
You both changed careers?
Yeah, Kyle's done with medical school, so he's starting his residency, and then I started a job down
What
here.
kind of job did you get?
I'm working on a bridge that is undergoing scheduled maintenance and seismic retrofitting.
Wow. Sounds like it makes it like it earns you a lot of money. It sounds like one of those jobs.
That sounds like a good topic of conversation on a public interview.
Always wondering if I'm mentally stable. I love it. I'm not.
There's no wondering. Wondering implies uncertainty, Linda.
You know, I've had jobs like selling subscriptions to newspapers outside of grocery stores in the snow. So when I
That sounds about right.
What?
That sounds about right.
It was great for my improv, but not my pocketbook. Yeah. That's about all I got to say on my career. I was in banking 20 some years. That was a real hot topic. Yeah, I got nothing. This sounds like I'm practicing my shtick on you, and I'm not.
I just think you haven't talked to anybody face to face in 8 months, because if you go outside, you'll catch COVID, and it attacks old people. So you can get it all out. We're not even recording. This is therapy.
I knew I forgot to do something today. I didn't record any of these.
This counts as my community engagement and community service that I'm doing as a member. I'm deeply religious, and serving the poor and the destitute. It's a really important part of that.
So where are you and your husband Kyle and your dog Marley going to move to next? Because me, I always move.
Right. So first of all, our dog's name is Barley. So check your privilege. But
Didn't we say Barley?
You said Marley.
I thought I said Barley.
Well, I'm calling Reverend Sharpton. Anyway, we just moved to Berkeley, so who knows where's next? We could move to northern Oakland, or maybe even another part of the East Bay. Or, I can just list geographic locations. I was always good at geography. I don't understand. We just moved here. We don't have anything. We're barely unpacked.
Why did you get it?
We just barely finished.
We're
not making moves already, and not after all that. Not after hauling furniture in the California sun, which yes, it was mid-April, but compared to Portland, ugh.
I am that typical Jewish woman that would walk into your house and say, "I love your apartment. Where are you moving to next?" I don't know.
Is that a Jewish thing?
Yeah, like you're never arrived. You're never good enough. Where are you going to go next?
Right.
Really bad timing.
I'll take your word for it.
You should.
This is actually a Jewish neighborhood. There's a little market and deli down the street that makes bagels in-house.
Wow.
So,
did you know that bagels, this is a hot topic. You could go in there and discuss this tomorrow.
They're closed by the time I get home from work.
Bagels used to be a secret recipe, and only rabbis knew what the recipe was. Or else my father lied to me. I'm not sure which. Go find Go ask them tomorrow.
I would have to say the likelihood that an old Jewish story is made up and that your father lied to you about Jewish history, those are about even.
Totally. Absolutely. They're probably the same thing. My luck. So tell me, when did people realize that you were funny and encourage you to get up on stage?
Well, I got the class clown award in kindergarten.
Really?
Yeah. And that was 21 years ago. And then 2 years ago, I started doing stand-up. So somewhere in that 18 and a half years of time, somewhere in there, to narrow it down a bit.
Do you remember anybody telling you you should do it, or what the catalyst was, or it just happened?
Well, I've always been deeply, deeply narcissistic and always a teeny bit talented. And when you multiply one by the other, it really can turn into something that people will notice on one of the channels that they don't regularly watch.
That's good.
For the younger viewers, is something we used to do on the television.
I have a news flash for you. Your job is very left-brained and comedy is very right-brained. So how do you marry the two of those and not go insane?
Well, about 50% of what I do is drawing and writing things on a computer. And then the other 50% of what I do is talking with union guys and coordinating work. And this task is in the middle of this and comedy. Because you have to get your timing, you have to get your stage presence, you have to get your name repetition, your punch, your setup. So it's really, that's the practice. And you gotta keep people's attention. And sometimes that's just doing a lot of this, and other times, we know what we're talking about.
So, when you're making these presentations, if you do anything wrong, could you wind up like Jimmy Hoffa and nobody know where you're at?
No, I don't think anyone takes comedy that seriously anymore.
No, I mean the engineer people that you have to impress. Is it dangerous if you make a mistake and they're like really high, important, strategic people? Could you get yourself in a lot of trouble if you made a mistake around these influential people you work for?
What kind of mistake are you talking about?
Like if you move a bridge in the middle of the night and they don't know I don't know where I'm going with this. I never know. I'm just winging it. It sounded like you have a lot of people you work with that could be scary if you piss them off.
Oh, like the foreman? Nah, they're great.
Cool.
They're iron workers. They're not known for being, tough, rough, gruff people.
Good.
You just talk to them about their lives and they just cozy on up to you like a little kitty.
People are going to think you're annoyed with me.
Why would they think that?
My silly questions. No, when you were describing them, it sounded like they're the type that would not appreciate like human error, or like I wouldn't want to present anything to those kind of people that you work for, because they seem like like they're way up there. You remember I used to sell papers outside of grocery stores, so I'm scared easily. I really want to go back in my house right now.
Right. Well, the people that are involved in infrastructure development are rarely the kind of people who extend their anger beyond a purely professional setting.
Got it.
There's not a lot of violence in civil public works.
Good.
Management. It's a fairly professional Oh, it's 5 o'clock. I don't need to worry about that. Like no one's tossing and turning in the night.
Good.
About the length of a piece of steel.
Because so help me, if anybody gives Colin Braun a hard time in Berkeley, I'm coming down to save you. I'm not drunk. This is just what I am.
Oh, I'm drunk.
So on the average week, how many times do you have to make a presentation to important people who scare me?
I don't know who scares you, so it could be very often, it could be very not often. Mainly, I just kind of churn out documentation and then talk to crew leaders. So not very often. Maybe once or twice a month, I'll do something that somebody important might glance at.
Do they ever come to your comedy and know how stinking funny you are?
No, I started this job a month ago. I haven't done comedy live in about 3 months. So
when this hits the airwaves, are they going to be shocked to know you do comedy?
No, and I don't necessarily know if they're in tune with local Portland comedy podcasts. So I don't know if it's something we need to worry about at this time.
Are you glad that you left Portland and you're in Berkeley?
I'm glad that life has taken me on the path that I have gone. I like where I'm at, and I like where I'm going, and I like where I've been. Berkeley is, I think, a bit more. I think Berkeley and Portland are both as annoying as each other, but in very different ways. In Portland, I've been yelled at for having health insurance and insisting that people vote. Whereas in Berkeley, I have pulled a pickup truck full of large pieces of furniture onto the curb in front of my house and then put the hazard lights on. And since it's a red curb, I've had people who do not work for the fire marshal's office walk by and glance at it judgmentally and then not say anything and then walk away.
Jeez.
They're very different, but at the same time, they're the same thing.
Yes.
So that's fun. But it's sunnier here, and we have a loquat tree in our yard.
Where do you plan on going with your comedy career? Because I could see you being a talk show host. I think you're interesting enough and funny enough.
We'll see. Right now, I'm just, I would really love to perform on a stage in front of people. And right now I can't really, as far as goals are concerned, that's where I want to be at.
Yes.
And so I'm just working toward that goal.
It's so frustrating not being able to perform, is it not?
It is, but in many ways it's liberating because I can stay home and get just as drunk, but for considerably less money. And the wait staff here is considerably more attractive.
Is there anything you want to say where you'd like traffic, people to follow you besides Instagram and your Zoom show, which I'll promote?
No, I'm not. I've not put much thought into promoting myself. I'm mainly focused on surviving the ongoing global apocalypse. But I guess if you want to, you can watch the show. It's called Sick Leave. It's a virtual open mic, or you can follow me on Instagram. I don't post anything particularly funny. Or if you would like to support a local charity, you can do that.
Do you have one that's your favorite?
They're all good.
Okay.
Any charity. You can give it to the NAACP or is GLAAD. Do they take donations?
I'll bet they do.
Perfect. Or just any LGBTQIA 2S plus. Just give us cash. We love just direct cash payments. But it doesn't buy you time out of our lives. So just like, hello, here you go, thank you, and then walk away. Don't give us money and tell us how much you care and support us. Just the money and distance is what we want.
You're so stinking funny.
Or you know, since this Pride Month is being put on a we're loaning this month to Black people. So really, there's 2 Black History Months this year, and then in a couple of years, they're going to give us 1.7%. 107% of Black History Month. We'll figure it out later. If you want, so the same rule applies. Instead of giving your cash to an LGBTQ plus person, just any Black person, just give them cash. And then the same thing, just give them cash and walk away. They don't want to deal with your shit. And that's what I try to do. You know?
That's awesome advice.
Right. Just give people money and walk away.
Since you're doing so well, I'm not working here. Get the hell. I'm sorry. Everybody wants a piece of me. It's Vegas. So you're coping so well with this pandemic. I can see you're so patiently waiting for everything to reopen. How can you inspire others to make it through the rest of this apocalypse?
You know, the thing is, if I inspire others, that means that once this is all over, there will be a smaller population of people that are just completely dehumanized by the virus, you know, and that's one fewer person for me to take advantage of as we move toward an oligarchy in this country. But you know what? No, I'll go for it. Pick up a hobby every week, but don't spend more than $50 on it. And then by the end of the pandemic, hopefully you'll have at least 2 hobbies that you like and that you haven't spent too much money on.
So funny. Oh my gosh. You always make me giddy. I act like the silliest goofball around you because I love you and I love your comedy. So thank you for making me this way.
Well, thank you so much for your kind words. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, I hope everybody listens to this because you're going to stand out like a sore thumb against my antics. You're amazing.
Well, that I will stand out is good to know.
Yes, you will.
With that knowledge, I can rest easy tonight.
Yes, absolutely. I love you. I'm going to sign out and I'll post this with all the stuff about, you know, with you. And if anything's incorrect, you know, that could happen with me, let me know.
Well, great. Thanks so much.
Come back anytime you have something to promote, please.
Perfect. I will work on figuring out things that I can promote, and then I'll come back just to do it.
Thank you, Colin Braun.
Thank you so much for having me, Linda. Have a nice night.
Good night.